Welcome to episode 159 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. I hope you've had a good week. I've been able to take a deep breath and celebrate the fact that we didn't face some sort of wave of darkness that would take us back in time. It was so comforting to see that people were done with the chaos, and that when the previous president announced he is running for office in 2024, it felt like nothing. It stirred no emotions. This week I watched the movie Gentleman's Agreement from 1947. I hadn't seen it before. I was taken aback by how progressive the message was for the time in which it was made. The basic story is that a reporter who is not Jewish decides to tell people in his new town that he is Jewish so he can experience firsthand what that would mean in terms of how he would be treated. It explores more than rooting out anti-Semitism. It speaks to something that comes up around all social justice. It isn't enough to not be anti-Semitic or racist. We need to also be able to speak up for the marginalized, to those who are anti-Semitic and racist. Comfort in a social setting or tradition cannot come before standing up for what is right and true. The star of the film is Gregory Peck, who is always on my short list of true stars. There's something that his mother says to him at the end of the movie that really stuck with me. She says, "I suddenly want to live to be very old, very. I want to be around to see what happens. The world is stirring in very strange ways. Maybe this is the century for it. Maybe that's why it's so troubled. Other centuries had their driving forces. What will ours have been when men look far back to it one day? Maybe it won't be the American century after all, or the Russian century, or the atomic century. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it turned out to be everybody's century, when people all over the world, free people, found a way to live together? I'd like to be around to see some of that, even the beginning. I may stick around for quite a while." Imagine saying this in 1947, when not many people were thinking such progressive thoughts. But some did, and as time has passed, even more people would co-sign her wish. Our job is to keep that hope alive and raise children who are much more aware and much more open to all people living together. As we have seen in the last week or so, young people can be the key to all the changes we need. I highly recommend Gentleman's Agreement. It is an important exploration of anti-Semitism and the ways in which we tolerate injustice. You know I love old movies. If there are any that you think are particularly important in times like this, let me know. Art has such a powerful way of lighting our path. This week I want to start talking about another area in which we are growing and exhibiting all the growing pains and conflict that are natural byproducts of things evolving. It is the man-woman thing. This is no small topic, and it is not inconsequential. Much of the need that some people feel to control women's bodies is tied up in this very conflict. There is a feeling that women are making all the wrong decisions, so the best thing for society to do is to remove their ability to make choices with their own lives and their own bodies. But there is no going backwards with all of that. Let's start back in the generations before us. There was a time when men were the prize. Finding one, marrying one, and keeping one were the main objectives for most women. Were these high-quality men? Not necessarily. They didn't have to be. They had all the power, all the jobs, and all the money. They also had the vote, and they were able to own land. While one needs some or all of these things to live a decent life, none of them were available to the women. Women had no rights. They had no say. They could be beaten, raped, and victimized without those in power having to care. It didn't matter all that much because they were not full people with full rights. As the years have gone by, women have fought for equal rights, which we still don't fully possess. But in the years that have passed, they fought to get into college, they fought to get jobs that had previously gone exclusively to men, they fought to have their own credit cards and take out their own bank loans. Women also had to fight to have the right to leave a marriage. Every single step along the way was a battle, taking some of the power out of the hands of men while expanding the possibilities for women. This is a very threatening prospect to some. They don't want the future to include everyone, so they are trying to demonize the reality that, as Aretha Franklin and Annie Lennox sang in the mid-'80s, sisters are doing it for themselves. Those who are traditionalists and stuck in the past think that the only way that society works is if men and women have very different roles in the culture, and they believe that it is the duty of the culture to make sure that people do not escape the narrow confines of the gender definitions. For the longest time, there were things that men did and things that women did. It was all pretty arbitrary and heavily enforced. But all definitions of who men and women are and what they are capable of doing strip everyone of the ability to be who they truly are and to develop all of the skills and interests that appeal to them. These definitions demand that everyone be a fraction of who they are capable of becoming. And not only are you supposed to be a fraction of who you can be, you are to be the fraction that has been defined by others. If you are a woman, you have to be a good cook. And if you are a man, you must be able to fix mechanical things. Well, guess what? We have evolved past that type of limited thinking. We have all the people here who have all the skill sets we need to survive. They just don't happen to be divided up in the simplistic ways that we used to think. We can and should bring all of our innate talents into play. The fact that women are moving closer to full participation in the culture means that men are no longer the prize. They are not needed in the same way that they were in the past. They are no longer needed for simple survival. In the past, a woman did not have the means to make a life of her own. But those days are gone now. It is no longer a necessity to have a man. Men should be happy to hear this. That is, unless they are unwilling to grow into their fullest selves so they can become the partners that women want. Relationships between men and women may not be a current issue for you, but they are surely issues in our culture. We have young women marching on the left for their rights and bodily autonomy, and young men marching on the right to maintain the ways of the past. They are both trying to define the future of the man-woman relationship. And we are right here watching it all change. There is much, much more to come on this topic. Stay tuned. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. We will be taking next week off for Thanksgiving and returning on December 1st. Have a wonderful day with those who you love and give them your entire focus. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes play on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can find all episodes on rebirthrevolution.com. Please download, rate, and review whenever possible. Until next week, get ready for gratitude to rule the day. Eat your favorite Thanksgiving foods, and find something beautiful in each and every person you spend your day with. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet. Not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and thankful.